Welcome back to the channel, everyone. This is the Volvo XC60, and on paper, it probably shouldn't be this good. In a world full of brand new SUVs packed with flashy tech, sharp styling, and the latest platforms, the XC60 is actually starting to feel a little old. But here's the interesting thing. Despite that, it's still better than a lot of them. And today, I'm going to explain exactly why. Because even though many of its rivals are newer, more recently redesigned, and in some cases more expensive, the Volvo XC60 continues to stand out in ways that really matter for everyday owners. So in this review, we're going to take a deep dive into everything: the design, the interior, space, and practicality, engines and performance, what it's like to drive, pricing, and trims. And finally, whether this is still one of the best SUVs you can buy today. But before we get into all of that, if you enjoy detailed, honest car reviews like this one, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss any future uploads. All right, let's get into it. The Volvo XC60 has actually had a fairly simple life so far. There have only been 2 generations of this car. The first XC60 was launched way back in 2008, which means the model itself is now almost 20 years old, and it quickly became one of Volvo's best-selling cars worldwide. This second-generation XC60 arrived in 2017, built on Volvo's SPA platform, the same architecture used by the bigger XC90. Since then, Volvo has kept it fresh with a series of updates rather than a full redesign. The most recent update arrived in 2025, and that's what we're looking at here today. This facelift brought subtle exterior styling, changes a redesigned front grille, and most importantly, a new infotainment system. Now, the XC60 competes in one of the most competitive segments in the car market. Its key rivals include Audi Q5, BMW X3, Land Rover Discovery Sport, Lexus NX. And all of those are strong, capable SUVs with efficient engines, good tech, and plenty of space. So why would you still choose the Volvo? Well, let's start with the area where the XC60 absolutely shines. Step inside the Volvo XC60 and it immediately becomes clear why this car still feels special. Volvo is genuinely one of the best manufacturers in the business when it comes to interior design, and the XC60 proves that perfectly. This cabin feels calm, elegant, and premium in a way that very few rivals manage. What's especially impressive is that the interior of the XC60 feels almost identical in quality and atmosphere to the much bigger and more expensive XC90. The car we're driving today is the top-spec Ultra trim, which means you get beautiful, real wood trim, a light, airy color scheme, Napa leather upholstery, massaging front seats, and an excellent Bowers & Wilkins sound system. And the overall effect is outstanding. Everything feels solid. The materials are soft where your hands naturally fall. There are no obvious cost-cutting measures, and nothing feels cheap or flimsy. In fact, I'd go as far as saying that this interior is better than what you'll find in the latest Audi Q5 or BMW X3. And that's quite something, because those cars are newer and more expensive. Interestingly, both Audi and BMW have actually taken a step backwards in recent years when it comes to interior quality, replacing traditional materials with glossy black plastics and overly complicated designs. Volvo hasn't done that. Instead, the XC60 interior focuses on simplicity, comfort, and usability, and it really pays off. Now, this is the XC60 at its absolute best, but even lower spec models still feel impressive. If you go for the entry-level core trim, you won't get quite as many plush materials, but the build quality is still excellent. And as a nice touch, Even on base models, Volvo lets you swap the standard black interior for a brighter color scheme at no extra cost, which really helps lift the cabin. Move up to Plus trim and you get wood trim inserts a more luxurious feel overall. Plus Pro adds Napa leather, ventilated front seats, larger alloy wheels, and then Ultra sits at the top with air suspension, panoramic sunroof, head-up display, and massaging seats. Every XC60, regardless of trim, comes with the new infotainment system. This updated infotainment system features an 11.2-inch touchscreen, and visually, it's quite different from the old setup. Where the previous 9-inch screen was neatly integrated into the dashboard, this new display looks more like a tablet stuck onto the dash. It slightly covers the air vents, and honestly, it's not the cleanest design Volvo has ever done. But design aside, the functionality has definitely improved. The icons are larger, the menus are simpler, and the processor is faster, meaning the system is much more responsive than before. It's still a Google-based infotainment system, so you get Google Maps, built-in Google Assistant voice control, Android Auto, and Apple CarPlay. And the voice control system actually works very well. You can adjust navigation, make calls, or even control the climate using voice commands. That said, Volvo continues with its controversial decision to put almost all climate controls on the touchscreen. There are very few physical buttons, and while there is a volume dial and voice control, adjusting temperature or fan speed requires using the screen. It works, but physical buttons would be far less distracting while driving. One area where the XC60 excels is the driving position. You sit high up with a commanding view of the road, and it genuinely feels like a proper SUV. Visibility is excellent. Great view forward, good sight lines down the sides, and strong rear visibility as well. Every XC60 comes with front and rear parking sensors, and you also get a 12.3-inch digital driver display. It doesn't offer loads of custom layouts, but what it does show is clear, calm, and very easy to read. A particularly nice touch is that if you're using navigation via Google Maps or smartphone mirroring, turn-by-turn directions appear directly in the driver display, which is extremely useful. Storage is another strong point. You get a long hidden cubby in the center console, 2 cup holders, a tray at the top of the console, large door bins, and a well-positioned armrest for relaxed driving. Overall, this cabin feels very well thought out and practical for daily use. Move into the back, and the XC60 continues to impress. I'm 177 centimeters tall, about 5 feet 10 inches, sitting behind my driving position. And I've got loads of knee room, excellent leg room, plenty of foot space, and very good headroom, even with the panoramic sunroof. Without the sunroof, headroom is even better. The XC60 is slightly wider than many rivals, so fitting 3 adults across the back is more comfortable than expected. Although, the middle seat is narrower. You sit slightly higher, and there's a large transmission tunnel. Still, for short journeys, it's perfectly usable. One thing missing is sliding and reclining rear seats, which some rivals offer. Let's talk about the boot. If you choose the B5 mild hybrid, you get 483 liters of boot space. That's slightly less than an Audi Q5 or BMW X3, but still very usable. The plug-in hybrid T6 and T8 versions drop slightly to 468 liters due to the battery placement. In real-world testing, B5 fits 8 carry-on suitcases, T6 and T8 fit 7 carry-on suitcases. That's not class-leading, but it's still practical. You also get a flat load floor, almost no loading lip-side storage compartments. And if your XC60 has air suspension, you can raise or lower the rear to make loading easier. The rear seats fold in a 60-40 split, not the more flexible 40-20-40 setup. But there is a ski hatch, which is useful. The XC60 is available with 3 engine options: B5 mild hybrid, 2.0-liter, 4-cylinder petrol, all-wheel drive, T6 plug-in hybrid, T8 plug-in hybrid. The plug-in hybrids add an electric motor driving the rear axle, all-wheel drive, a usable battery capacity of 14.7 kilowatt-hours. Official electric range is around 50 miles, though real-world driving usually delivers 30 to 40 miles. Charging from flat to full takes around 3 hours, and there's no fast charging support. Performance: B5, 0 to 62 miles per hour in 6.9 seconds, T8, 0 to 62 miles per hour in 4.9 seconds. That's quick, but this isn't a sporty SUV. The XC60 focuses on comfort and refinement. Standard suspension does a decent job, but sharp bumps and potholes can still be felt. This Ultra model comes with air suspension, which improves ride comfort and composure. But even then, an Audi Q5 on air suspension is still slightly more comfortable. The XC60 also feels a bit top-heavy in corners, and the light steering doesn't offer much feedback. That said, for relaxed, everyday driving, it's quiet, smooth, and easy to live with. Pricing is another area where the XC60 does well. It's cheaper than both the Audi Q5 and BMW X3, especially at the lower trim levels. Core trim includes 2-zone climate control, cruise control, LED, headlights, heated leather seats. Plus trim adds electric seats, 4-zone climate control, heated steering wheel. Ultra adds luxury features. But it's expensive. Best value, B5 mild hybrid in core or plus trim. Warranty is 3 years/60,000 miles, which is average. So, is the Volvo XC60 still worth buying? Absolutely. It may not be the newest SUV in its class, and it's not the sportiest to drive. But its interior quality, comfort, and value allow it to stand toe-to-toe with newer rivals. If you care about a premium interior, relaxed driving, strong everyday usability, then the Volvo XC60 remains a fantastic choice. Thanks for watching. Click up here for another review, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel.